Yeah, nice. Well, hi, yeah, I'm Greg Shapiro, the American Netherlander, and I'm a little bit of both, and that's why I'm here today. I am a little bit loud American, and I'm a little bit Dutch, doe normaal. En trouwens ben ik tweetalig, but I don't like to speak Dutch because it makes my mouth feel sad. Dutch language, gotta love it, don't you? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about you guys as well. I'm from the United States, loud land. For those of you who probably met some Americans. Let's start with actually, if you can, put a little bit of house lights up here. How many Dutch people are here? Like Dutch people, graduates, and family? Yeah. Good. Okay. How about not Dutch people? How about not Dutch people? Where are the not Dutch people? That seems to be more. Yeah, interesting. So for the Dutch, there was a bit of woo in the front and not so much in the back. And then for the not Dutch, there were more whoops in the back and not so much in the front. Okay, interesting. Good. Any Americans here? Just checking. That is a very American response. After you've been abroad for 3 years, it's like, is this okay? It's okay, right? Yes, it is. It's fine. Yeah, being American for over here for a while, you start to learn things, don't you? Well, anyway, I'm from Chicago. Chicago has been described as the second city of the United States, always kind of the distant second to New York. And yeah, I love Rotterdam as well. Rotterdam seems to have that same kind of relationship with Amsterdam. I don't know. I'm living in Amsterdam because that is where this theater started. Boom Chicago. And you guys know Boom Chicago Comedy Theater? Yeah, well, you don't have to, but it is very famous and influential. So if you haven't heard of us, it's your fault. I will say that I came here originally just to take a job with a comedy theater for one summer. And 20 years later, I'm still here. So, fair warning, the Dutch can be addictive. And I will point out for you guys as well, now I know a lot of you are going on to, different academic careers, like Audrey was saying, either to, LSE or Cambridge or to, elsewhere in Europe, Stockholm, it's fine. Or the US, Stanford I heard as well. So a lot of you are going on, some of you are starting out your own little entrepreneurial enterprises, your own businesses, who knows? Well, I will just point out that this crazy idea of a comedy theater in Amsterdam was started by a couple of friends of mine, friends that I met at my alma mater of Northwestern University in Chicago. And who knew that we'd end up spending a lot of our lives together. So I really liked what these two guys had to say, and I will just point out that, you're going off into the world, but, does it all end here? It doesn't have to. You could start a business together and end up spending 20 years of your life in a city that you never expected. Anyway, there are signs sometimes that pop out, and you wonder, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to end up? What am I supposed to do? And if you keep an open mind, then sometimes the signs will just appear to you. Now, I'm telling you, I'm coming from an English-speaking background, and when you speak English and you're here in the Netherlands, it is often hilarious. Not for the right reason, but this is a boat, for example, a cargo ship that was sailing in front of my house. And it is, in Dutch, it's the Gregory, from a city called Goes in Zeeland, in NL for Netherlands. But knowing that NL means Netherlands, to me this was a big sign that just said, Gregory goes Dutch. And that was my cue. That was my cue to, actually learn the language, take the inburgeringscursus, and eventually to get a passport. And I wrote a book called How to Be Orange, Making Dutch People Take Their Own Assimilation Exam. How many people, I'm just checking, how many people have taken this Dutch assimilation course or the assimilation exam? Yeah, if you haven't, it's fun. In fact, I reprinted some of the questions from the actual exam in the back of this book. And if we have time, maybe we can try one or two of these questions to find out how Dutch you've become in the last 3 years. Now, indeed, learning the Dutch language is very fun. Very friendly language, Dutch. Yes, how do Dutch people say good morning? Good morning. And good afternoon is goedemiddag. It's very friendly. It makes you sound like an angry, choking victim. And Dutch language, very handy for international business, isn't it? I came here and learned Dutch just in time for all Dutch people to learn English perfectly well. And it's very hard to practice Dutch, actually. But like, how many Dutch people speak English really well? Heel bescheiden, yes, very shy, modest, shall we say. Let me try to rephrase the question. How many Dutch people speak English better than French people? See the difference? Better than German people? Better than some American people? It's true! It is true. If you've ever been to Louisiana, oh my God. But this is research that I got from Dutch News.nl, DutchNews.nl, and this is a survey that just came out. It was English proficiency by country in Europe. And if you can look at mainland Europe, some countries are kind of a surprise. I would have thought Scandinavia would do very well with English proficiency, English as a second language. But it turns out no one country does better with English as a second language than the Netherlands. 90%. So, chaka! Yeah! I don't know why, I don't know what it is. And apparently, so I've been told, the reason for this proficiency in English is it studying? Is it, internationally minded? Yes, but it's also one big reason, which is ondertitelen. It's the subtitles, isn't it? Because the larger countries in Europe, a generation ago, they had a choice to make. When they were getting all of this international content, largely Hollywood TV and movies, countries like Germany, France, Spain, they had enough money to hire voiceover, to hire people to do nasynchronisieren, to do the voiceovers and dubbing for all this foreign language content. But the Netherlands did not. They said, subtitles would be good enough. And as it turns out, it's a much better learning tool. It's a better way to learn a language, and hence, through basically being cheap, Dutch people have had a big leapfrog effect over a lot of the rest of Europe. Now, some of you have been tittering, I know, and I agree. 90% English proficiency in the Netherlands is not that surprising, but the real surprise, if you look carefully, is the country which one would expect to be 100% English proficiency. The United Kingdom is approximately 95%. That's what happens when you let Scotland stay. And we know that's a joke. It's clearly Wales. Anyway, I will point out that when you are trying to speak Dutch, it's a dangerous proposition. Now, English is tough. I know English is hard to learn, but in Dutch, I've found that even if you make a slight error with maybe one tiny extra vowel sound, Dutch people will, first of all, not understand anything. Like, yeah, eet smakelijk. What? Eet smakelijk. What? Eet smakelijk. Oh, eet smakelijk. Yeah, it's did you not know? And here's Google Translate. Thank goodness it says, did you mean eet smakelijk? Yes. However, if you happen to add one extra vowel to this word, eet smakelijk, then you get not just misunderstanding, then you found out you have said something completely different and offensive and has made every Dutch person go, what is wrong with you? If you say eet smakelijk instead of eet smakelijk, then you have said eat, taste, corpse. Smack like. I don't know how that works, but fine. I was sitting in a train compartment in the NS. It's where the seats face each other, and I could tell that the woman sitting across from me was uncomfortable. uncomfortable. She was sitting facing backwards. And being a gentleman in the Dutch language, I tried to say, would you like to switch seats with me? I have no problem sitting backwards. And in Dutch, I know now, I was supposed to say, ik kan achteruit rijden. But instead, trying to be polite, and in the local language, I said, ik heb geen probleem achterop te rijden. Now, I was trying my best, but meanwhile everybody bursts out laughing at this idiot in the train compartment who clearly gets up from his seat because he wants to sit on top of the train. And bearing this in mind, for Dutch people, I know, if you're going now to Cambridge or to an English-speaking country or a university, whatever, you know, bear in mind, it will be difficult when you're bringing your Dutch culture to a different culture. Bear in mind that when you have spent time in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands, and you want to take this stuff that you've kind of all gotten used to over the past 3 years, it might be a bit of culture shock when you go to a different culture. For example, think of the poor Dutch guy who has to go to Cambridge and say, hi, my name is Freak. Now, if you've been living here, you know that's a perfectly respectable name, Freak. It's, yeah, normal. You know, I'm Freak and this is my friend Jerk. It's just a Dutch thing. When you go to Cambridge and they're like, is this some kind of joke? Ah, no, this is my friend Yoka. And this is our other friend Taco. Taco is a normal Dutch guy's name. In the rest of the world, that is an ethnic food and you will be eaten. But I was in a business meeting one time, and a guy introduced himself to me and he said, hi, my name is Fucko. And I thought, you're not, are you joking? He's not joking, apparently. I said, fine, shame on me for trying to laugh, but what is your colleague's name? His colleague's name was Sicko. And I thought, come on, you guys are having me on. No, they are normal Dutch names. When you're doing business with the Dutch, it's good business, but it can be a little bit culture shock. And those are just the first names. Ever since the Napoleonic era, the Napoleonic regime was the first one to introduce a surname. And Dutch people thought, surname? That'll never catch on. So they made up all these joke names that persist until this day, like Mooi Broek, lovely pants. This is a respected journalist, and I've worked with him. His name is Edwin Lovely Pants. Then there's names like Nakgeboren, Kimberly Born Naked. And this is a LinkedIn profile of a man named Geert-Jan Rotmense. That's just in Dutch, my goodness. Now, you know, you try not to perpetuate these myths about Dutch culture. And if you're from anywhere other than the Netherlands, you know what I'm talking about. You know, if you've seen this video, Fox News versus Amsterdam, it's great. You should really give it a try. This is the quote from Bill O'Reilly on Fox News. He says, all the criminals and drug addicts in Europe have gone and exploited the openness in Amsterdam. Amsterdam is a mess. Now, first of all, he's saying that all of the Netherlands is one big Amsterdam. And he's also saying that, you know, there was a whole episode of Fox News about how Amsterdam is this Sodom and Gomorrah on the North Sea, whatever, and, you know, geographically incorrect, no problem for Fox News. He's basically perpetuating this myth that all Dutch people are a bunch of drug-doing, drug-sniffing, baby-killing, baby-injecting, grandpa-murdering homosexuals. And you come here and you realize that's not even true! I mean, yeah, maybe Belgium, but, never forget, if you want to make Dutch people laugh, slag off Belgium. It's wonderful. I love that still. But if you study a little bit about Dutch history, then you realize that Dutch people are responsible, you know, for the Reformation with Erasmus. Yes, Erasmus. There would be no Protestant religion without Erasmus and the whole Reformation. In the middle, we've got Baruch Spinoza, secular humanitarianism, René Descartes. I think, therefore I am, was written in Amsterdam. But so the Dutch thinkers, you know, there would be no Western values as we know them without Dutch history, the first ever republic, in 1648. So then you start thinking, oh, maybe I've misjudged this whole country. Maybe this is a place of tolerance and openness and progressive thinking. And then you come across traditions like this, and it's like, oh, where did that come from? And if you think you're surprised, then just imagine how President Barack Obama felt when he visited here last year. It is a diverse culture, honestly, and that is a surprise. If you've been living here for 3 years or so, you might know what the then Princess Maxima said about the country, and this is a quote that got her in a bit of trouble. She said, "De Nederlandse identiteit, die heb ik niet gevonden," or in English, "The Dutch identity. Is there one Dutch identity? I haven't found it because," the rest of the quote, "the Netherlands is too diverse to sum up in any one cliché." And of course the Dutch media was like, "Maxima says the Dutch identity doesn't exist. She's insulted all of us." But as it turns out, it is a fairly diverse country. I mean, it's only 17 million people. It's a pretty small amount of land, but below the rivers it's more Burgundian. To the east it's more Saxon-oriented. The west we've got the Hollanders, and in the north there's a whole province called Friesland. And friends of mine are from Friesland who say, "Do not call it a province. This is an occupied territory." And you can tell in the whole anthem, the Dutch anthem, that it's a kind of a unique place to be. I was there in my, course, and I was learning the Dutch national anthem, and I had to raise my hand and say, "I'm sorry, I stopped the song, but I'm just translating as we go here. But is the opening line of your national anthem, 'I'm William, founder of your country, and by the way, I'm German,' Doutzen really sort of sticks out there." No, he said, "No, it's not Dutch, it's not Doutzen, it's not Dutch, it's not Deutsch, it's Dutch. It means Dietze, it means Dutch, it's a Dutch thing. It's just, that's the opening line of the song." And I said, "Oh, okay, Wilhelmus von Nassau. Where's Nassau?" "Yeah, Nassau is in Germany, yeah, that's true." So, okay, so the opening line of it seems the opening line of the Dutch national anthem name checks a totally different country. Follow-up question, is that normal? Are there other countries that name check a whole different country? Now, granted, the text of the anthem is part of a much larger text, and there's a whole great story to that about the founder of the country, Willem van Oranje, Willem the Silent, Willem van Nassau, and he has a lot of similarities to George Washington that were never taught about. But can you imagine still America having a national anthem that would name check a different country in the opening line? Like, "Oh, say, can you see our British history?" No. "And Canada is our neighbor, and a shout out to Mexico." No, you wouldn't do that. But the Netherlands has no problem. In fact, if you look at the rest of the song, the word Netherlands does not appear in the Dutch national anthem at all. Holland does not appear in there at all. The rest of the world is like, are they going to mention their own country at all in their song? No. Netherlands is just like, mic drop, we're out of here. What? The word Oranje appears in there. That's kind of like orange, yeah, orange, orange. Is a city in France, actually. And then the closing line of the song, "De Koning van Hispania, heb ik altijd geëerd. My allegiance for all time I pledge to the King of Spain." End of the song. The rest of the world is like, what country was that? And it's not just any countries that are listed. If you count France in there, they start out with Germany, they pass through France, and they end on Spain. And if you look in the Dutch history section, you think, okay, what do those three countries have in common? Germany, France, Spain have all invaded and occupied the Netherlands through Dutch history. It is a laundry list of, like, national humiliations. What a strange way to have a national anthem. Can you imagine America being, "Oh, say, can you see, Vietnam was a mistake." And Iraq was unjustified. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Everything we've done wrong, we have put it in this song. No, you wouldn't do that! With the Netherlands, it's just different, man! It's just different. But the Dutch have so much to be proud of, really. This is a map of the Netherlands about 100 years ago, and then Dutch people, what do? They just got bored one day and their feet were wet, so they were like, pumping, 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 bam, Flevoland. And the rest of the world was like, how did you do that? Because there was water, and now there's land. And there was water, and then land again. Like, that's a miracle. And Dutch people are just like, oh, God. It's just Flevoland. Ask any Dutch people, what do you think about Flevoland? Yeah, it's niet gezellig. It's okay, I wouldn't want to live there, but it's a huge miracle. If Jesus would come back and walk on water, everyone would say it's a miracle except for the Dutch. They're like, yeah, we've seen that. And thanks to this ingenious kind of engineering now, I just read that the Netherlands, if you can believe this, the Netherlands is the second biggest agricultural exporter in the world, behind only the United States. Is that insane? I had to check my figures, but apparently I don't know how they're counting it. You guys are the IBA students, so you let me know if that's accurate. But I thought, my goodness, tomatoes. There are more tomatoes grown in the Netherlands than all of Greece. Like 22% of potatoes that you get for export, they come from the Netherlands. It's amazing. And so the Dutch, good friends to have. Now I'm just going to close up on a bit of this actual exam. That's how to find me. If I don't get a chance to do a selfie with you after the show, I'll put a big selfie on the Facebook page. But anyway, these are some actual questions from the Dutch exam. Oh my goodness. Your colleague from work is getting married. You're invited, but you can't attend the wedding. You want to do something nice, so what do you do? A, do you send a gift? B, do you send a card? Or C, do you send flowers? How many people would say A? You'd send a gift to your colleague getting married. Okay. How many people would send a card? Yeah? That's more. That's like the majority so far, okay? How many would send flowers? Because it's the Dutch. It's the French. Not a lot. Okay, send a card seems to be the majority so far. Guess what the correct answer is? Send a card, yes! And why is that the correct answer? Because it's cheap? Sure. Okay, good. Oh, it's good. There's something to it, I guess. Now just don't forget, the Dutch are good friends to have. Whether you're spending time here and staying, whether you're moving on, just remember that it's a unique kind of country. What other country would have a national airline and call it KLM, which in English is Killam? Major financial institution in the Netherlands called Rabobank. Anytime you want to do some baking in the Netherlands, you have to find white bastard sucker. And all of these blank notebooks say no titties. Like, breakfast here has the worst croissants. Lunch is the worst. And if you want a vegetarian version, they call it homos. That's all better than the barf menu. And if you want to make your kids eat the vegetables, they have no Lego potatoes. Or if you're healthy, eat your stinking vegetables. This is a dog grooming salon called Dog Style. I got in trouble for taking a picture of it because the guy came out and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Do you know what Dog Style means in English?" He said, "Yes." That's the Netherlands, man. Reinforcing every stereotype, it's the pot delivery van. If you want to blow up your car, take it to Fire Zone. This is a family shop owned by the family Black, but the sign says Black Kids for sale, sale, sale. This is a product or a service called Baby Dump. I don't even know what they do, but here is the revenge of the unwanted babies. Mama, die, die, die! And if you want more for the cum laude and summa cum laude students, I hope you will enjoy having a look at the book, How to Be Orange. I'm Gregory Shapiro, the American Netherlander. Congratulations!